Good morning, class 10 students, and welcome to another online physical science class. Today I am continuing behavior of gases. What is Boyle's law that I have discussed in my previous slides? Here I am going to discuss some examples of Boyle's law. So an example of Boyle's law in action can be seen in a balloon. Air is blown into the balloon. The pressure of that air pushes on the rubber, making the balloon expand. If one end of the balloon is squeezed, making the volume smaller, the pressure inside increased, making the unsqueezed part of the balloon expand out. Now see the diagram first. One is a balloon diagram, balloon mechanism given, and in another diagram, the other examples of Boyle's law given, which includes lungs, a scuba driver, that means scuba diving, syringe, bicycle pump, underwater fish, etc. So, examples, or rather you can say non-numerical problems on Boyle's law. First, we can say when a rubber balloon is inflated with air of a pump, the pressure inside increases, but the volume, instead of suffering a decrease in accordance with Boyle's law, increases. This happens because with the introduction of air, the mass of the gas increases, resulting an increase in volume. Thus, inflation of a balloon by mouth or a pump appears to violate Boyle's law, but it is not so in the true sense. Means in true sense, it is obeying Boyle's law. Second one, when a bubble from the depth of a large pond begins to rise to approach the surface, its volume gradually increases. This happens because during the gradual rise, the temperature of water remains unchanged throughout, but the depth of water gradually falls. As a result, the pressure of water decreases and the volume of the bubble suffers a continual increase. Next, Charles' law, a law stating that the volume of an ideal gas at constant pressure is directly proportional to the absolute temperature. An air balloon is a classic example of Charles' law also. On ignition of the fuel, the air inside the envelopes heats up. This hot air expands as per Charles' law. As the temperature of the air increases, the volume of the air also increases and consequently the density decreases. So in 1787, the French scientist Charles suggested a law related to the effect of temperature on the volume of a given amount of a gaseous substance at a fixed pressure, which is commonly known as Charles' law. So what is Charles' law? At constant pressure, the volume of a given mass of a gas is increased or decreased by T by 273 part of its volume of 0 degree Celsius for every 1 degree rise or fall in temperature. The fraction 1 by 273 is a coefficient of volume expansion. A most precise value of this fraction is 1 by 273.16. That means this is a decimal fraction, 1 by 273.16. All gases behave in the same manner towards the expansion or compression of volume. So the value of the coefficient of volume expansion is same for all gases, that is 1 by 273. Now explanation. Let the volumes of given mass of a gas at constant pressure be V0, because at 0 degree temperature. At 1 degree temperature it will be V1, V2 and Vt, at 0 degree, 1 degree, 2 degree and t degree respectively, like this. So according to the Charles law, increase in volume for 1 degree Celsius rise in temperature equal to V0 into 1 by 273. That means V0 by 273. And increase in volume for T degree Celsius rise in temperature equal to obviously V0 into T by 273. Therefore, volume of the gas at 1 degree Celsius V1 is equal to original volume plus increased volume. So V0, that is the original volume at 0 degree Celsius, plus V0 by 273, that is the increased volume at 0 degree Celsius. So if we take V0 common, it will come 1 plus 1 by 273. That means V1 is equal to V0 into 1 plus 1 by 273. And volume of the gas at T degree Celsius, everything will be same, just 0 will be converted into T. So Vt is equal to V0, but initial volume will be V0 only. So it will be V0 plus V0 into T by 273 equal to, if we take V0 common here also, so it will come V0 into 1 plus T by 273. Therefore, decrease in volume for T degree Celsius, fall in temperature is equal to T into V0 by 273. Decrease or increase. If it will be decreased, this sign will be minus. Hence, volume of gas at minus T degree Celsius, V dash T is equal to V0 minus V0 into T by 273 equal to V0 into 1 minus T by 273. Now see the diagram. V varies as T according to Charles law, or V by T is equal to constant, and that is K. Here K is a constant that denotes on the pressure of the gas, the amount of gas and also unit of volume. If V1 and T1 are the initial values of volume and temperature of a gas, then V1 by T1 is equal to also K. That means same constant. Also, if the temperature is now changed to T2 such that the volume changes to V2, we can write V2 by T2 is equal to K, or V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2, or you can say that V1 T2 is equal to V2 T1. Now see the graphical representation, it is also there. But I am going to discuss about the graphical representation in the next slides also. Now, graphical representation of Charles law. Charles law states that for every 1 degree Celsius increase in temperature of a gas, the volume increases by 1 by 273 of the original volume, pressure remaining constant. At a fixed pressure, when the volume is varied, the volume temperature relationship traces a straight line on the graph, and on moving towards zero volume, all lines intersect at a point on the temperature axis, which is minus 273.15 or 16 rather you can say degrees Celsius. So now see the graphical representation. A straight line will come, but it will go beyond the origin. That means I have given the dotted line. That means we are considering the absolute zero. At constant pressure, plot of V versus T, that is in Celsius scale, for a definite mass of gas. This type of graph will come when volume V of a definite mass of a gas is plotted against temperature T degrees Celsius. At a constant pressure, a straight line will be obtained but will not pass through origin. At constant pressure and at minus 273 degrees Celsius temperature, the volume of all gases becomes zero. This is called absolute temperature. What is absolute zero? Absolute zero is the lowest temperature possible. At a temperature of absolute zero, there is no motion and no heat. Absolute zero occurs at a temperature of 0 degrees Kelvin or minus 273.15 degrees Celsius or at 460 degrees Fahrenheit. So at constant pressure, the temperature minus 273 degrees Celsius at which theoretically a gas would have no volume is known as absolute zero. A temperature below this cannot be conceived of in the universe. It is the temperature at which the kinetic energy of atoms and molecules is minimal. At absolute zero, the movements of molecules are totally stopped and consequently their average kinetic energy would be zero. So see the first diagram, absolute zero temperature is there where directly it has been shown minus 273.15, and in another diagram absolute zero graphical representation has been shown. It's beyond the origin. And it's similar, this graph is as similar as Charles' law, graphical representation of Charles' law. Now absolute scale of temperature, absolute zero provides a starting point for a scale of temperature known as absolute scale. Lord Kelvin proposed the idea of an absolute scale now known as Kelvin scale. It is a temperature scale where minus 273 degrees Celsius is the starting point, that is on the scale 0 Kelvin is equal to minus 273 degrees Celsius and each degree is equal to that in the Celsius scale. So T Kelvin is equal to T plus 273 Kelvin. So this is, you knew it already, this is the conversion between the Celsius and Kelvin. So according to Charles' law, just now I have said Vt is equal to V0 into 1 plus T by 273. If T is equal to minus 273 degree, then Vt is equal to V0 into 1 minus 273. That means instead of T, I am writing here minus 273 by 273. So 1 minus 273 and 273 will be reduced and it will come 1. So ultimately 1 minus 1 0. So V0 into 0, ultimately T is coming 0. Maybe you are thinking that's very confusing. It's not at all confusing. It's very easy chapter. So please listen to the video properly and please write it down according to my words so that you can easily solve it and then relate it with your book. Now graphical representation of P versus T and V versus T. Before saying this, I am just giving you a reminder about Gay-Lussac's law. Gay-Lussac was a scientist. So according to Gay-Lussac's law, which more currently referred to as Amonton's law, states that the pressure of a given mass of gas varies directly with the absolute temperature of the gas. When the volume is kept constant, these laws are also known variously as the pressure law or Amonton's law and Dalton's law respectively. About Gay-Lussac's law I will discuss later, but here just I am giving an introduction because this is needed for this graphical representation. At constant volume, plot P versus T for a definite mass of gas. Okay, so explanation, the graph you will get, if you will not consider absolute zero, the graph you will get, the P versus T graph, you will get a straight line which starts from the origin. So according to Gay-Lussac's law, at constant volume, when the pressure of a definite mass of any gas at different temperatures are plotted, taking P as the ordinate and T as abscissa, then a straight line passing through the origin will be obtained. And the next, at constant pressure, plot of V versus T for a definite mass of gas. Here also first we are not considering absolute zero. So according to Charles' law, at a constant pressure, if the volumes of a definite mass of any gas at different temperatures are plotted, taking V as the ordinate and T as abscissa, then a straight line passing through the origin will be obtained. Clear? Now I have given the diagram where we have considered absolute zero also. But we have drawn pressure versus temperature and volume versus temperature graph. So if we will consider absolute zero, this straight line will go beyond the origin. A volume versus temperature and a pressure versus temperature plot will each have an intercept of minus 273 degrees Celsius. The volume and the pressure of a gas seem to reduce to 0 degree at a very specific temperature, assuming the gas remains a gas. Now we are discussing about combined form of Boyle's and Charles' law. When we put Boyle's law, Charles' law and Gay-Lussac's law together, we come up with the combined gas law, which shows that pressure is inversely proportional to volume, or higher volume equals lower pressure. Pressure is directly proportional to temperature, or higher temperature equals higher pressure. In a diagrammatic situation, I have shown you PV according to Boyle's law, PV is equal to K. According to Charles' law, V by T is equal to K. And according to Gay-Lussac's law, P by T is equal to K. So after combining the three laws, we will get PV by T is equal to K. So this is the combined gas law. The combined gas law, what is this? Boyle's law and Charles' law can be combined to give the combined gas law. And that is written mathematically as follows. That is PV by T is equal to K dash. In this equation rather, P, V and T have the same meaning as before, and K dash is another experimentally determined constant. Now the combined gas law can be expressed in another useful form where the subscript I refers to an initial set of conditions and the subscript F refers to a final set of conditions for the same gas sample. That means P initial pressure into initial volume divided by initial temperature equal to final pressure into final volume divided by final temperature. So it's coming. Let us consider for a definite mass of a gas, the pressure, temperature and volume are P, T and V respectively. According to Boyle's law, V varies as 1 by P at constant temperature and for a given mass of the gas. According to Charles' law, V varies as T at constant pressure and for a given mass of the gas. According to the law of joint variation, it is coming after combining these two, V varies as T by P when the mass of the gas remains constant but both pressure and temperature of the gas vary. Therefore, V is equal to K into T by P. K is a proportionality constant and it depends upon the amount of gas. Or PV by T is equal to K or PV is equal to K into T. The equation PV is equal to K into T is a combined form of Boyle's law and Charles' law. From this equation, it can be said that the product of pressure and volume of a definite mass of a gas is directly proportional to its absolute temperature. That's why I have mentioned capital T over here. The above equation, known as ideal gas equation, gives a relation among pressure, volume and temperature of a given mass of a gas. Now let P1 V1 and P2 V2 are the pressure and volumes of a certain mass of a gas at temperatures T1 and T2 respectively. Thus from equation 2, that means that PV is equal to KT equation, we get P1 V1 by T1 is equal to K and P2 V2 by T2 is equal to K. That means the value of constant will not change. That means they both are similar. So we can write P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. If the volume of a definite mass of a gas at a particular temperature and pressure is known, the volume of that gas existing at another temperature and pressure can be easily calculated from the above equation. Now, we are discussing about ideal gas and real gas. The term ideal gas refers to a hypothetical gas composed of molecules which follow a few rules. Ideal gas molecules do not attract or repel each other. The only interaction between ideal gas molecules would be an elastic collision upon impact with each other or an elastic collision with the walls of the container. Ideal gas is like an ideal student. Suppose you are not talking in the class, you are a very good student. That means you behave like an ideal guest. No interaction with the students. You are not running in the courtyard at the tiffin time. That means no collision. You know that is called actually random motion in my words. So that is an ideal student. So ideal guest generally likes an ideal student. An ideal guest in a box, that means in diagram I have shown. It is following PV is equal to nRT. That means PV is equal to KT. That equation, N means N number of molecule and R is universal constant. So P is equal to pressure, V is equal to volume, N is equal to number, T is equal to temperature, and R is just a number. That is a universal constant. So they go faster. P is caused by them hitting the walls, but just in a similar and very good manner they are going. A real gas is one that deviates from ideal behavior due to the effects of gas particles occupying a finite volume and the strength of intermolecular forces. The van der Waals equation compensates for deviations from ideal gas behavior. So a real gas is like a real student. Okay, that you are continuously interacting, you are talking, you are running like random motion in the courtyard at the tiffin time. So imagine that this is the difference between an ideal and a real gas. Now see the second diagram, real gas behavior. The second piston shows a gas at mid-high pressure. As the volume decreases, some molecules stick together, effectively reducing the moles of gas. So now V actual means actual volume is less than ideal volume. The gas is more compressible and attractions dominate. So a gas which obeys Boyle's law, Charles' law and Avogadro's law for all values of temperature and pressure, and which obeys the equation of state PV is equal to nRT under all conditions of temperature and pressure is called an ideal gas. An ideal gas doesn't have the forces of attraction or repulsion between its molecules. Extensive studies on the behavior of gases exhibit that no gas obeys the ideal gas equation. PV is equal to nRT under all conditions. However, all gases approach the ideal behavior as the temperature goes further from their boiling points, that is, at high temperature and low pressure. But when the temperature is low and the pressure is high, the gases deviate from the ideal behavior. Boyle's experiments were all performed at ordinary temperatures and pressures, and his law was based on the results of these experiments. But when the experiments were performed at high pressure and low temperature, it was found that the law was applicable only as an approximation. Thank you, students. For any doubts or queries, please email me at shudeshna1.sma@outlook.com. Even you need to send your physical science assignments along with your test paper question answers in this given email ID.